Hello, I'm Potato Cat and welcome to my channel. Today we are playing The Letter. Previously, we got talked into a dinner date with this lovely man here, and it's going differently than I thought it would go. We've come on to the topic of Ashton. Of course, he doesn't know it's Ashton, but on the guy that she's liked for 17 years and how she thinks love is spending every moment of the day thinking and loving and feeling all of our thoughts and time and energy and physical being next to that person. And he's kind of telling us the truth about that, but in a very mean way. Alright, let's continue. What does he know? However, he's the first one who looks away, focusing his eyes back to where Kylie is, and for a moment I believe I've won. Until he draws in a breath and turns back to me. Now he's just making sure she's not anywhere, near this before he's about to go off on us. The words he drops next, though hushed, hang heavily in the distance between us.
You're right. I won't.
Oh. That just sounds like we're being mean to him now.
But I do know not to mistake love for obsession, woman. They are not the same thing.
Again, not wrong. It rattles. Out of everything he said tonight, this is the one thing that twinges my heart. Maybe it's in the manner he delivers it, the lack of conceit in his posture, or an underlying insult in the tone he takes, or the fact that it's true and you know it's true. A mark is not meant to cut, merely to express a simple truth. This time, it's him who holds the gaze against mine. Another unspoken challenge, and I realize that if this happens minutes before, I'd already have an equally searing retort at the tip of my tongue. There's none. But the anger is there, ringing at my insides, prodding at the uncertainties I've long kept. Isn't it enough? We have the long years we've been together. We have the memories. Whenever he needs me until other people came in between us, I've always been the one there. Love is not a race. Just because you knew a person first, and because you knew them first, you were there for them, does not mean that the other people who come into your life, won't beat you in the love game, I guess. That dedication and loyalty should mean something, shouldn't it? Yes, it's called being friend-zoned. You're best friends. I've always been sure of it, and that one day he'll see it for what it is. In spite of that, in this minute, under this man's scrutiny, my own heart wavers. Now I struggle to find the words. I don't need to answer that. What right do you have? Those are both true. He doesn't really have a right to tell Becca this. It's not his business, but we keep putting our nose in his business, so I guess it's only fair. I don't need to answer that. It's also true. Because it's also not his business. We don't really need to respond. I feel like this is the less, these aren't fighting words, so I don't need to answer that. Luke likes us a little bit more. Ah, my world is once again completed. So happy. Yay. Okay. However, those are for me to ponder on. This ours doesn't need to hear them, and neither is he entitled to them, just because he dished out some profound sounding life wisdom no one asked for. So, I look away, hoping my own silence would be enough of an answer for him. And it is, for a moment, up until warm, furious tears prickle behind my eyes, stinging, begging for release. Along with every other frustration, stump talk has built up in me. All because of this man. I hate him. I hate the fact that he has to be the one to see me in this sorry state. I'm already expecting another barb from him when his expression shifts. Except he panics. He can't take crying very well. In the span of 3 seconds, his expression changes from indifferent to concerned to utter panic. It would probably have been funny if I weren't so irked by the sight of this bastard.
Hey, are you crying? Are you going to cry? Stop that right now, woman, or I'll...
Will you shut up?
For a person who's supposed to be very mature and adult-like, she sure does just, snap at people a lot. In inappropriate settings, too. She, takes her frustrations out on others, which I feel like is not very adult, personally. But whatever. He clams up almost before I could finish. Whether this is due to the sudden force in my voice, or how I look, I pretend to not think about it. It seems like a deer caught in the headlights, with the way he's making himself smaller in his seat. But I'm still pissed. I'm tired, and if I can't punch him, I can at least scream at him.
You're an annoying bag of dick, you know that?
Just the one dick, not multiple dicks. Just a bag of a dick. Okay.
If I hear another word from you, I'm sewing that bloody mouth shut myself!
It does do the trick. Not to the effect I've hoped. But the moment I've snapped at him, the stinging at the back of my eyes melts away, and a strange calm overcomes me. A fragile thing when found in the middle of a busy coffee shop. Nevertheless, it's appreciated considering it doesn't last. Immediately broken by a very person that put me in this state. A few awkward pats on my pats to my shoulder. Done twice. Thrice. And another. Until my patience runs out. Again, I'm pulling out the book from my bag, raising it threatening over his head. He'll surely dent his skull if it slams down at this height. Part of me wants to see that, but I restrain myself. He has a good sense to recoil, though, as I like him going, there, 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 there. Shortly, he shrinks back to a seat and waves his hand in front of him in a gesture of surrender.
Watch that book, woman! I already warned you about your little threats. You don't want to see my brand of angry!
That's very convincing.
Then keep your hands to yourself!
All right, that's it. People these days, I swear you treat them nicely, and this is where it gets me.
You're the last person I'd ever want to comfort me, even if we're the only two remaining people on Earth. Don't flatter yourself.
Okay, have it your way, Daisy.
And stop calling me Daisy! I have a name, you know!
He mutters something inaudible under his breath, although afterwards he doesn't say anything further. For the next minute, he simply contents himself with making a mess out of the paper napkins. Also, where is our food? I'm saying this has got to be, they've had to been waiting for at least 20 minutes now. This seems like a long conversation. Folding them into clean shapes without any clear intent, or crumpling them in his hand, he loses interest, and dumping them in a small pile in front of him. A waiter serves our meal soon enough, and Kylie makes her way to our table. But before I can take a single bite, he mutters something. The words spoken in the same tone he's used since morning, all under his breath. Whenever the honest part of himself would show. Despite my rather confusing opinion of the man, I stopped short of shoving food in my mouth to look at him. His eyes on his food as he speaks, busying himself with cutting a portion of meat on his plate. But what comes out of him only rings true against my ears, above the din of the coffee house.
For what it's worth, Rebecca, I didn't ever think that's all there is to you. Why else would I leave my own goddaughter in your care if you're just some lovesick woman?
He spears a piece of his food, pops it into his mouth, and that's it. One whole day with this man, and I still can't figure out what his deal is. But for what it's worth as well, I don't think he's entirely a bad guy. The rest of our meal slips in silence afterwards. Aside from Kylie's occasional chatter, the whole dinner goes by without another word exchanged between the two of us. Somehow, we managed to make it through the whole thing without triggering another tension-riddled conversation. A good thing, perhaps. 1, because Kylie's sitting in front of us, and 2, probably won't be able to hold a proper conversation with mind heavy with thoughts. We depart from the coffee house just as evening crowd starts to thin out. The same wordless silence fills our short walk back to the school, except for when Luke gestures a nearby flower shop and enters without waiting for Kylie and I. He emerges minutes after carrying a bouquet of daffodils, with the same softened expression back on his face. Unlike the previous one, he tucks this one away almost as soon as he looks up at us. A moment he's not willing to share. On my confusion, he merely answers with a shrug and continues walking.
For someone important.
I accept it for what it is, if only because he doesn't owe me an explanation. It does leave more questions about him, each one as baffling as the previous one. There's our last word spoken this evening before we head our own ways. Up until I arrive home, I still can't understand him. Here, however, a whole different set of questions await me, and much like everything today, it comes with the littlest of things. A little note greets me upon reaching my unit's door. Its edges flutter lightly against a faint warm breeze passing through the small complex. My hand stops short of twisting the knob as I stare at it, though I don't make any moves to take it. Ashton's neat script lines its surface. Dropped by earlier, you weren't around. Any ideas where Scaredy Cat is? I couldn't contact her. Inspector Abigail has a few questions. LPD stuff. Something about her dead co-worker. Anyways, let me know. Let me know how the two of you have been doing. I'll see you later. Ash. Smiley winky face. Oh, that is cute. The message he left short and straight to the point, but not without an underlying hint of friendship. He's looking for Isabella, apparently. Something about LPD's investigation of her co-worker's death, but it's its formal tone by checking on me. Us. Journal updated. Okay. Here it is. Luke and Kylie invited Rebecca for dinner as she was about to leave. Despite receiving a text message from Ashton, Rebecca agreed, and the three spent the evening at a nearby coffee house. Upon returning to her flat, she found a note from Ashton. A note that Ashton left her. This is the party, right? Yeah. So, the next day is a party. I wonder what's going to happen. How far we're going to go. It's like November 1st has something. Someone is going to have something on November 1st. Any other day, the former part of his message will likely prod at the piercing envy I've been holding, while the latter will probably send my heart aflutter. Little things from him that I want to mean something more. Yet, this time only guilt fills me, and my eyes briefly shift towards Isabella's empty unit. Luke's words repeat inside my head as I do so.
For what it's worth, Rebecca, I didn't ever think that's all there is to you. Why else would I leave my own goddaughter in your care if you're just some lovesick woman?
Have I always been like this?
Yes. And I still don't like you. Just let it be known. Still don't like Rebecca. Don't like her. This selfish? In truth, I've intended to call Ash after that dinner. If I didn't catch him here, invite him to that party like I planned. There's time and he's still probably awake at around this hour. But my hands won't move. And perhaps it is for the better. Until I've had the time to think this through, it'll be best if I distance myself from those I've been clinging tightly to. Find a different perspective and see things for what they are. With a soft sigh, I reach for the note and crumple it under my hand. The knob twists open with much ease when I enter this time. Maybe after some introspection, it'll be easier. For tomorrow, I have that woman in the mansion to worry about. Story updated. The night wears on without further incident, despite the great number of thoughts swimming inside my head. Come morning, there's only a hush, a strange sort of stillness, unlike the ones greeting me every morning. This one's uneasy, tight with anticipation, like a string stretched thin, merely waiting for the proper time to snap. Drinking some water, water ASMR. That was a treat just for you guys. Thought you were missing that. Granted, it doesn't make my day any less pleasant, but the edge is there. And, as expected, the second I step out of my flat, it comes apart, broken by the voices of two squabbling adults echoing from the floor below. The quiet was nice while it lasted. Shame.
What the hell were you thinking?
I wasn't. Ow! Could you let go?
Not a few seconds later, they both ascend the stairs, with Ashton pulling Isabella by her wrist. She struggles, as she should, but his hold on her remains firm. Freeing herself means having to draw blood, as she attempts to pry his hand off with her other one, or using unnecessary force to push herself away, neither of which is better than the other. One could potentially end in an accident, while the other means having to hurt him physically. She has a good sense to realize that, at least. However, it doesn't take the desperate edge in her voice when she answers Ashton's temper with her own. So, on they go, none the wiser to my presence.
Do you have any idea how much trouble you could get in?
That's why I'm asking you for help.
Is this what you've been doing these past 3 days? Because this doesn't make your case convincing, Isabella.
Well, I'm interested in knowing what she's been doing.
Rose died, Ash.
I know. Every single person in Luxburg knows. It's on the damn news. But that doesn't mean...
People are missing. Some of those are my friends. And BRC's just covering it all up.
You can't just barge into my office and expect me to do anything about it, right off the bat. This isn't a children's game, Isabella. We have procedures. We have to follow protocol. There's red tape all over this case for a reason.
Ooh, interesting.
We sure as hell don't investigate things just because some stupid letter spooked us.
Ash, you have to believe me this time. If we don't do anything right now, more people will...
It's been a whole week. This stupid letter prank is getting old real fast. I'm sick of it. It was funny the first time, not so much now.
So he seriously still thinks that this is a prank. Like, she's that bored that she's just been keeping this going on.
You're the only one that can help me with this, Ash. Even Rebecca won't.
All right, you two are awfully loud.
Indeed they are.
What's going on here?
Both of their heads snap up, almost in unison. A displeased frown is on each of their faces, but this is a necessary interruption. What can they do? People still in their units have already taken interest on the commotion, with some taking a peek behind their curtains, while others are bold enough to creak open their doors, if only slightly. If they don't keep it down, pretty soon our landlady will show up. Getting a reprimand from her is the last thing I want to happen, first thing on a Friday morning, even if this is hardly my fault.
Well, if you want to continue this, you two better do it elsewhere. You're disturbing other people.
Don't worry, we're done here.
No, we aren't. Becca, I looked it up. I called them. I visited some of them and...
Which you shouldn't have done in the first place. Isabella, you're going to create more problems for us with what you're doing. A team has already been assigned to it. Leave it to us.
Your precious team is looking at it the wrong way. Becca, it's not just Rose. There are others.
The last bit strikes a chord, prods strongly at a memory, at that vicious smile already etched deeply inside my mind. The image appears clear enough, but at the mere mention of it, I stumble on my own question.
What do you mean?
The letter, Rebecca! It's not...
It's nothing. If there's really something going on because of that dumb letter, none of us would be standing here. We've all read it, haven't we?
Well, we've all been experiencing something. Pretty sure it killed Zach. Let's see. So, Isabella's constantly being chased by Ghosty Chick. And Zach probably dead. Marion is stuck in a dungeon. Hana is going through something. Even though she's pregnant with twins right now, it's not the perfect timing, is it? Like, it tried to murder her. So, yeah, we're all being affected. Ash.
But Rebecca's alive, Zach's alive, I'm alive. So for the last time, this isn't a curse.
He's alive for now. Just saying. This is after this that I basically got him killed.
There's a murderer on the loose, and your co-workers happen to be the victims. Give it a rest, Isabella. It's too early for this shit.
Don't you think that's too much for a coincidence?
Not so much. Most serial killers follow a pattern. I'll tell you about it some other time. And anyway, coincidence or not, the point is, civilians like you aren't supposed to get involved. You're putting yourself in danger.
I wasn't chasing after.
Will the both of you slow down and stop arguing for a minute?
Also, can we not argue outside? Didn't we already have this discussion of we're being too loud and the landlord's gonna get pissed off?
What's this about your coworkers, Belle?
Becca, please don't tell me now you believe this shit.
Shut up, Ashton. Quit being an asshole. Shut your face. Let her talk. Sure. In a heartbeat, I'll agree with Ashton. That's how it always been. Besides having a very good point, really. They're the very same ones he'll make every time I ask too many questions. But the fact of the matter is, what he wants to hear from me right now is far from what I've been sensing these past few days. It doesn't matter what Isabella or I believe on our own. Something odd has been happening around me, and a letter she picked up is at the heart of this. But however I respond to the question in their faces, only one of them will be pleased with it. Thank you, Gabe, for letting me know that I'm going to choose one and piss off the other. Belle, you shouldn't be doing these things. I might have seen her. Honestly, lying in visuals novels always bad. We're going to tell the truth. I might have seen her, because we did see her. And I'm going to guess Ashton's going to be pissed off at us. Yeah, Ashton's unhappy. Isabella likes us better. Sorry to tell the truth, Ash. Ashton, in particular, won't be too happy to hear it. Imagining the look on his face doesn't take too much effort. His entire posture shifts the moment my reluctance shows. Shoulders tensing, brows furrowing, eyes gaining a sharp edge. He's already bracing himself from the disappointment. And it will be a disappointment. Not in a million years did I ever believe I'll be saying this either.
I might have seen her. The woman Belle's been telling us about. The one she said she saw in the attic.
Both of them stare at me like I've grown an extra head, and for a few moments, Ashton looks as if he's about to have a fit. A pause treads at his heels after silence. Thick enough, one can almost hear a pin drop.
You're kidding, right?
Oh yes, because this is the best time to start joking about this.
Do I look like I'm joking?
Really, Becca? Not funny.
Ash, I'm not lying. Why would I lie about this? It's been this way since the film fest. The past few days have been really odd since we read that letter.
Or maybe you're all just feeling under the weather.
Oh great, now he's blaming it on the flu.
I'm not sick. Don't you think I'd know that by now?
Becca, you're starting to sound like Scaredy Cat. Give me a break.
Why don't you?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, you two.
Isabella's voice cut sharply through the conversation, abruptly putting an end to the brewing argument.
It's all my fault. This is all my fault. I was only hoping I could fix this before any of you. I'm sorry for dragging you all into this.
She breathes in, deep, steady, and in that moment, something falls behind her eyes as she looks away.
I'll fix this. I promise.
A quiet resolve. The same one I saw her that night from 3 days ago. But this time, it burns brighter. Even Ashton waves at its sight when she looks him straight in the eyes. Gaze unflinching, gradually, his grip on her wrist loosens.
Belle, there's nothing to fix. The problem is...
Just this once, Ash.
Her voice, though small and lacking any force, stops him. Along with it, every sound, every noise dies around us. A hushed descending as if the world is waiting for her words.
You don't have to come with me. But if I don't do anything, I am going to regret it.
She lays a hand atop his, gentle, pleading, almost intimate. If one does not consider the circumstances we found ourselves in,
Please.
Ashton will never tell a soul, will never admit it, even to himself. But it is in that short second his own resolve breaks. The moment the hard edge in his eyes softens, and he relinquishes his hold on her, letting his hand fall limply to his side. Wordless, Isabella steps back and runs off, leaving only a muttering thanks and a small lackluster smile. Only after the last of her footsteps fade away does Ashton move. Well, we'll see how this conversation between Ashton and I goes in the next episode. I am Taylor Cat. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon.